Hi there, I am Sarah Colas. Welcome to the Dressing Up podcast, where we talk about all things bridal, dresses, and general dressing up topics. I love to encourage women to dress up while expressing their personal style with confidence on how to do so. Visit sarahcolas.com to book a bridal alterations fitting, or even inquire about designing the custom couture bridal gown of your dreams. I'm so excited to talk to you about this next topic. Let's get started. Welcome, everyone, again back to another episode of the Dressing Up podcast. I am thrilled to be introducing you today to our special guest, Sallie Holder, CEO and founder of the BRIMM, joining us today. I am particularly excited to have her on this podcast today because, one, she has fabulous style, and I can't wait to talk about it on the Dressing Up podcast. But two, because she is actually my business coach for a few years now with Sarah Coles Designs, and I am so excited to share with you a little bit more about my experience with her. I was thinking about you a lot today, Sallie, and there were some words that I'm just like, this is who she is. And I was thinking, you are the girl boss of all girl bosses.
Well, thank you, Sarah. That is a high compliment. I really appreciate it. So sweet.
So excited to have you here. So getting to know you a little bit, you live in Greenville, South Carolina. I know that before you started your own company, you were a lawyer for 10 years and even served as the COO for 6 different companies. So I'd love to chat about that a little bit.
Yeah, I had an interesting journey to entrepreneurship. And I think that old adage is so true that it's never too late to start another revenue stream or another business, whatever it is you're most passionate about. I thought that practicing law was my passion and got into it and really realized I actually want to be working with the small business owner. And I was working with large companies like FedEx and Michelin and BMW and their suppliers, which was great. It just, at the end of the day, didn't make the type of impact that I really wanted. I wanted to be able to make a difference. And so after that, I actually went and ran a corporate and tax firm. And that way it kind of transitioned me out of the law practice, but then I was still within my comfort zone a bit. So it was a nice transition. But after running that company, I really realized, gosh, there are some systems and processes that when you put these in place, your revenue does significantly increase. We saw a 70% year over year increase with that law firm. And that is really significant in, a multi-million-dollar company. So I then used those same systems and processes in several different companies after that to create revenue growth. And that just kind of became my thing until I had a female entrepreneur come to me and say, would you coach us to do the very same thing you've been doing in these companies? And I was like, sure, but what does that look like? And so she was like, you could be our business coach. And so that's kind of how I fell into starting this company. But it's been the most rewarding thing I could have possibly imagined. It's definitely where I feel I'm meant to be and doing what I love.
Yeah, it's amazing. You are so admirable, and the amount of women's lives that you've changed. You have truly changed my life, Sallie. I could go on and on and on and on. You are just incredible. And I can't thank you enough for everything over the past several years. I'm sure some of our listeners kind of want to know why I'm saying all this and what exactly you're doing now.
Yeah. So now I work with female entrepreneurs specifically, and I really have found a niche with the creatives. I have such admiration for what you do as a creative talent, a creative soul, and I think it's just amazing. And I want to help those really amplify what they're doing and reach a larger audience by giving them the business tools that help do that. So the way I do that is in a program called the Sales Accelerator, or TSA for short. Yes, you'll take flight or all that. I need to explore all the TSA, acronym much more so. But yeah, I give you all of those systems and processes and tools that I've been using all these years to create revenue growth and allow you to understand what your individual sales process should be, develop one with guidance from an expert. And it's all of the content you've been looking for. Yes, you can find some of these things in Google, not gonna lie. But the problem is you're going to find 1/10 of one piece, and then you've got to go and figure out how it fits into the life cycle of sales and where it goes. And that's really, really time consuming. And so this is, a 6-month process of, really helping you not just get followers, not just make your brand look pretty or any of that. I want you to make money. And that's the ultimate goal in TSA. And it's incredible to see what women can do when they have wealth. And that's what I want women to be able to have.
I am genuinely curious. When you started your business, why did you decide to go the female route and stay there?
So funny enough, I worked with a couple of men right off the bat, one-on-one. And to be honest, I always tell people this. I just felt like they were boring. I mean, at the end of the day, they just
Couldn't agree more.
You're right. Like they took the information that I gave them, executed on it, but also they had no barriers to their success. They had no challenges. And to be able to see that in firsthand and in practice was mind blowing. So to take the very same tools, give them to a female entrepreneur, and then see all of the challenges that we face, and then have a direct comparison to what men are facing, I was like, how can I ignore that there is so much more of a need for women? And I frankly, want to focus in on that, because then I can incorporate all of the other things that women do have to deal with, like higher rates of imposter syndrome, the fact that we wear multiple hats in, the family. And it doesn't even matter if you have kids or don't have kids, right? I mean, my, twin sister doesn't have children, but she still is quote unquote responsible for the household. Like, who's getting this fixed? Who's getting that? Like, it ends up falling on us as the women. And so we need extra tools. We need different tools. We need, to deal with some of the limiting beliefs that we're being fed constantly in the media. And so I want to create that transformation, or help women create that transformation. And it just, wasn't very fun doing it for men. But I mean, they got the great results, but
I am slightly like you in that my business is extremely female focused too, working with in the wedding industry with brides. I mean, I'm always working with women, and I can remember every single time a man has walked through my door, whether it's a bride's dad or brother or whatever, which is fabulous and great. But I have to say thank you from the whole world for all your action in this way, helping females, helping female entrepreneurs. I mean, I did not know how much I was suffering in my business and in my mindset until I started working with you. And you are so direct and so straightforward. I remember times you'd be like, no, you need to change your thought process on this. So I thank you so much for that. And I love your attitude, and I love the work that you're doing. I mean, I could go on and on, but this is the Dressing Up podcast. So we're going to move on to a little bit more of fashion.
One thing I will say,
yes,
I call it accountability with love.
yes.
And so when people are like, oh, will you hold me accountable, or will you, like you're saying, get tense with me or terse? I'm like, yes, because I know what's on the other side waiting for you.
Yeah.
If you take the action that we talked about. And so I get so overly passionate about my clients that I'm like, do it, So it's like this, it really does come from a loving place of wanting the best, and not letting anything stop them. But yeah, I can get a little,
I love it. But you'll say the things no one else will say. And I did not realize some of the things I was subconsciously believing about myself or my business until I met you. So I'm glad that all those changes have happened. Okay, so one question I ask all of my Dressing Up podcast guests is, what is your favorite item in your closet right now?
My favorite item in my closet right now is it is I'm going to be totally vulnerable here. It is a short mini dress from Alame. It is a really cool designer that my twin sister owns a women's clothing store called Hamden, and the reason is because it has spaghetti straps, and I have never been able to wear a spaghetti strap dress because my boobs did not allow it, and I got a breast reduction almost a year ago,
Oh,
and it has been life-changing.
yeah.
So the fact that I even have something that is spaghetti strapped in my closet right now, it just feels so amazing, and I freaking love it.
Oh, I love that. So good. So, as a business owner myself, I put a lot of importance into what I wear when I'm with my clients. I want to look very presentable. I mean, the woman's in a wedding dress, for God's sakes. I should dress up a little bit. So, I do think that what we wear affects our mindset and affects our confidence. So, how do you dress like a girl boss? And how do you dress? How does it affect your confidence?
I am so passionate about this. I really do believe, right, what we're showing up as in our workday. And there are so many studies that actually show this as well, like the correlation between what you're wearing and how you feel about yourself, and how we feel about ourselves, our thoughts, as you and I have discussed so many times, has every single thing to do with what our actions are. So when we can increase our confidence by wearing something that makes us feel proud, makes us feel
Mhm.
confident, then the actions that we're going to take as a result of those feelings are going to be, right, more confidence infused. They're going to be riskier, potentially more outside your comfort zone. You're going to be doing things that challenge you. And those are the things that end up moving your business forward and creating the type of outcomes that you ultimately want to have. And so it is, to me, a big piece of the puzzle is taking the time to take care of yourself first. And to me, a big part of taking care of myself is, making myself, I'm not dressing for anybody else. I'm dressing for me. So it's all about what makes me feel confident. And I think that that's going to differ for everyone. But whatever, stop saving your favorite dress and waiting for the perfect time to wear it. Wear it every freaking week until you're so tired of it. And I had a good friend tell me that years ago, and it changes how you feel and thus will change the outcomes you get.
I have kind of a funny story as it relates to you and the retreat that I went to in Greenville.
Mhm.
And you had like a starter cocktail networking party at your house, which is gorgeous, by the way. But I was so stressed out because I didn't know anybody going to this retreat. I just signed up and I'm like, I'm just going to go. I just quit my corporate job. I'm like, I need to meet people. But the dress code for that party was casual. And I think up here in Michigan, sorry, I'm not trying to bash my Michigan ladies, but I feel like casual would mean like leggings and a t-shirt or something. But I had already made a dress to wear to that party, and I thought it was kind of fancy. And I was really debating on whether or not I should still wear it because you said casual after I had already made the dress. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna wear the dress. Like I already did. But I showed up I was right in place. Like it was, to me, it was not casual. Everyone was so dressed up. I'm like, these Southern ladies are just fabulous. I mean, you guys just wear dresses on the regular. I could fit in so well in that fashion environment.
Yes,
So
you
good.
could. And yes, we do. I mean, everybody in
Yeah.
the South loves to dress up. So
Yes.
yeah, whenever I am traveling like more to the Midwest or even the West Coast, I have to remind myself, tone it down a little bit.
Yeah. Never though. Don't do
Never. Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Oh man. What about for somebody that maybe isn't very into fashion or just really wants to hear specifics about in a professional setting, what are some good specifics or tips or things to look for in clothing that would be appropriate?
So for me, I mean, I'm always investing in good quality core pieces. So every single season, I always want to make sure that I have a couple of things in my closet that I can lean on at all times. One of those for me always is a killer black blazer. And yes, I do get probably a different one each year, not each season, but probably each year because the style changes. Like sometimes it's oversized, sometimes it's cropped, right? Sometimes it's, buttoned or not. So yes, even though they're all black blazers, it still matters. And that helps me feel really pulled together, whether it's with jeans or a pair of dress pants, whatever. I just absolutely have to have that. The other is obviously a killer pair of jeans that I love that always makes me feel thin and tall and all of the things. And yeah, I mean, I think that the other is a dress that you love that can go dressed up, dressed down. I'm always wanting at least one of those that's work appropriate. Yes, I've got like the fun alame to like go out to dinner or whatever, but let's be honest. I mean, majority of the time it's work stuff, but I want that one in there each season that I'm like, okay, this is going to be my go-to when I'm going to go meet a new client or I'm going to, and I'm very intentional about what that one is. I'll spend a minute looking for it and it's just, again, it's all about you and whatever ends up making you feel confident. But the problem I end up running into or having friends run into, and they're always complaining to me about is, I'm going to an event and I have nothing to wear. And, that's why I say to them, I'm not going to wait for the event to occur to get something. I'm going to get something and then know that the event will happen. And if not, I will create the event. Let's be honest. And that's a great part of life too, is if it's in there in your closet, you're more likely to go and do something. If someone's invited you to a great event and you have nothing to wear, you're likely going to skip out on it. Again, not great for you. You probably needed to get out of your house and go do it. And so all of those are about be prepared for each situation.
Yeah. I love that. Buy it when you see it. You'll
Yeah.
eventually wear it. That's great advice. Very good. Do you have any favorite designers at the moment?
I do. My favorite designer for workwear is a small brand. I think that they're out of Germany, maybe Copenhagen, but it's called Dorothy Schumacher or Shoemaker. Dorothy is Dorothee. And again, she's one of the ones at Hamden, but I've met their owner and things, had dinner with them in Paris. It is the coolest line for being able to feel like that I didn't try, but I look really professional and great in a workwear. And obviously, I love Alame for prints and things like that. Alame is Alemais. So it's, very different. That's why I like to kind of spell them out so you can actually find them. And one other one that I really always love, I probably end up going back to, Marnie is another one. It's been around a long time. It's, you want to talk about investing in a piece that you will keep for years and years and years, and you will just never get rid of. And Marnie is certainly a collection like that. So those are definitely like, my high-end aspirational. Don't get me wrong. I'm still like a J. Crew jeans girl who loves going to the factory store and getting some jeans. They have the best and they're inexpensive and they're always on sale. So yeah. I freaking love that. And as my sister says, like you should get like your white t-shirt and stuff like that there. So I always do. Yeah. And you'll see me, in tennis shoes quite a bit. So I'm not often wearing heels. I just jokingly say I'm moving too fast, but that's probably it.
Comfort thing.
Yeah.
How involved are you, if at all, in the purchasing process for Hampton?
Not at all right now. There have been periods of time where I was involved and, actually in 2023, I was for about a 6-month period. More for me, though, on the structure and financial side, it is an incredible company and it's big and they do a lot of business all over the world. And so not a whole lot in the actual selection. And my twin sister does all of that with her assistant buyer. And the only time she ends up coming to me, because I am much more of like, if you guys could see me now, I have a navy blue and white striped dress on, and I probably 9 times out of 10 could be caught with a navy blue and white striped something on. And so
Yeah.
she's like way more of a risk taker, and like she's the first to a trend. Whereas I'm much more like once it's caught hold, and yeah, I'm like a little late of an arriver to it. Whereas she's probably the first one, and I'm looking at what she's wearing, being like, what the heck,
Yeah.
And then, 6 months later, I want exactly what it
Yeah.
is
Then
that she's
you're
wearing. Of
copying it.
course.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Sounds like me and my sisters too.
Yeah, I mean, she was that way, certainly with the oversized blazer. I didn't get it. I was like, you look like you're just swimming in a jacket. I don't understand. And then, yeah, I mean, a couple months later, all I wanted was a oversized black blazer
Yeah.
that I could wear all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, dresses and pants and everything. And so I eat crow quite a bit when it comes to that stuff.
Do you know how your sister vets out designers? Like, what is the whole? Because I do feel like Hampton is very different for a clothing company, and
Mhm.
you choose very high quality pieces. So I'd love to hear if you know a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the process requires research. She's doing quite a bit of research in advance of market to look at new brands that have come on the scene. Hamden always has the latest and greatest, the newest designers that she prides herself on finding before they explode, right? She had Christopher John Rogers long before his explosion, and doing so well and so talented. She had, what is it, Buseo long before she was in any of the Saks or any of those locations. So she's always identifying small batch producers. And so when the line or collection becomes much more mainstream and much more accessible, most of the time that's when they kind of move on and find someone else, because she likes to elevate voices of new designers and new brands that aren't getting the type of traction. And I definitely attribute a lot of her influence to their eventual success. I mean, yeah, she's featured in Vogue all the time. In fact, she was just 2 weeks ago, I think. So it definitely
Wow.
ends up making an impact being carried in that source. So she, thinks very carefully, and then obviously wants to ensure that they are following a delivery process and methodology. I think that I always hear that from her, from makers, in that she needs to know that if she's placing an order for that particular garment, that it's going to arrive on time and that it's going to arrive when promised. And that's a hard thing to do as a maker, for sure. But that's everything to the retailer. I mean, you have a 12-week window to sell your garments, really, and that's it. And so the late deliveries, that's probably the one thing I can say that ends up forcing her to say, even if the design is amazing, I can't carry this brand because they can't meet the delivery deadlines. But yeah, she spent significant amounts of time researching new brands to see who's up and coming, and to go and meet them, right? And it's as much about the person as it is what they design. And I think that people forget that. And, if there are makers listening, put yourself out there. They need to know you, not just, the designs. They need to understand what you believe and what you think. And people make decisions from their hearts and not their heads, right? I mean, your heart is basically your gut, your internal intuition, and that's where we make business decisions, believe it or not. And if they know, like, and trust you, and because they have seen your face on Instagram and they understand and align with your same beliefs, you are just giving yourself a huge leg up when it comes time for them to make their decisions. They will have unidentifiable things to say, I don't know why I like her, I just do, right? And they can't really put their finger on it. And it is because you did the work in advance to create this kind of persona and an understanding of who you are. It's so critical. And I fight entrepreneurs on this every single day. They're like, it's just about my product. It's just about what I produce. It's just about what I make. And I'm like, it is not in today's landscape. And it probably was 10 years ago, but not today. In the land of AI, there is nothing more critical than you putting yourself out there so that they can tell it's you that said it and wrote it and believed it. And they're going to connect with that authenticity much, much faster. And I see her do that every day, whether she realizes it or not. That's the psychology behind it, and it works. It will
Wow.
increase your sales for sure.
Wow. Well, you certainly know a lot about your sister's business, so shout out to her.
Mhm.
She is your twin after all.
Exactly.
I came up with a couple questions here, and they're kind of similar. So
Mhm.
one would be, I want to pick your brain on what do you see coming next for female entrepreneurs? What do you, when you're done with your career, what do you want to see happen?
Oh my gosh. What I want to see happen
Yeah.
is I want women to believe that there are no limits to their success, period. Right? I want them to think about the $1 million business as easy, maybe not easily, but simply attainable. And yes, it won't ever be easy for anyone to get there, but that right now, I again find tremendous resistance towards the 7-figure business because of the fear and constant belief that that will create too much burden on them or their families. And what I tell female entrepreneurs every day is running a 7-figure business is way easier than a 6-figure one. 6 figures, you're still doing it all yourself. It's, hard, and you don't want to stay in the storm. 6 figures is staying in the storm. So get out of the storm, keep going, move past it. And to me, that's the 7-figure business. And I want women to just embrace that. We only have 2% of female entrepreneurs today that reach that mark. I would love it to be
Wow.
50%. And I think a lot of that begins, as we've said here, right, with our belief system fundamentally changing. And when our beliefs change, our thoughts change. When our thoughts change, our actions change. When our actions change, our outcomes change. And we've got to start with this belief. And when we have that belief that wealth is in our future, that we can create it, I'm not saying it's for everyone at all. I'm just saying that for those that want to create a business that is lucrative, that they think bigger. And I think the more we have female entrepreneurs out there doing it and showing that the lifestyle is even better at that higher mark, then the more it will become attainable and even a thought for the women right behind us. So that is what I would love to see, is just that no longer is there resistance to the 7-figure business. No longer is there resistance to the idea that women can have wealth and happiness. And you can, especially when you don't approach business from a bro-ish male mindset. And that
So
is
different.
so different. It is
Mhm.
one of force, it is one of pushing, it is one of sacrifice. And that's not how we as women, attract our best clients. It's not how it's how we burn ourselves out. And
Mhm.
so we have been trying to keep up with men for a super long time. And instead, what I've tried to create in TSA is a structure that was created for women, not taking the male model and just saying, let's do this together. No, saying, forget the male model. Let's do something that was created just to support our growth. And what does that need to include so that we can get there? I
Yeah.
mean, I could talk all day about that. Like, ugh,
No.
I can see it,
Yeah.
where a woman is making the assumption of, yes, I'm going to walk into whatever it is, a marriage, a relationship, any of it with the knowledge that should I want to, again, all based on your own wants and desires, but should I want to, I absolutely could have a multi-million dollar business for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the second question I had that was somewhat similar is what do you see next for the BRIMM?
Gosh, that is so hard. I
know I had someone ask me that about my business recently and I stumbled, but I'd like to
yeah,
see kind of your thoughts and where you see it going.
I want to obviously continue to expand our impact. And I think that it, as with any business owner, it requires me to continue to show up, stay consistent, be vulnerable about what I believe, because it's the only way for women to be able to hear, hey, there's another way out there. And it can be scary, even for me, to do that all the time. And here's the big and, not immediately see results from it, because that's the thing, right? You're going to have your offer or whatever it is that you're doing, and then you're going to have your outcome, except there's a giant gap between the two, and you need to stay firm, not retreat. You need to keep going, keep showing up, even long before the results do. And I think for me, it feels like over the course of the next few years, I need to keep just simply showing up and sharing this, message and idea that there's a better way for women to go about this type of success, and that it's attainable, and that it can be easy, or easier for sure, more enjoyable. Absolutely. Obviously, I jokingly say, but also all the time, I think world domination should be all of our goals.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, I want women everywhere to know us, like to know what the BRIMM is and what we stand for, and the fact that, there are a whole lot of other women out there that want big things too, and they're not alone. And that's a lot of why I wanted to bring women together. Is it can be lonely, really lonely. And yeah, we don't have to do it by ourselves anymore. There's a lot more of us out there than you realize.
The community is so important. Yeah, even learning so much from you, but also just seeing other female entrepreneurs on a consistent basis and seeing what they're doing and their successes. And it's like, I can do that too. I can do that too. So it's kind of great to see those examples. I know we have a lot of wedding industry folks listening to this, and I am so supportive of them checking out Sallie and the BRIMM. If any of you listeners have any questions about this program, just feel free to reach out to me in any way. I'd love to talk to you about it, because I just know what an amazing transformation I've had with my business. So I would love, especially get some more Detroiters up on TSA. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you, Sallie, for joining us today and sharing insights into the world of fashion and personal style and more about what you do. I would like to encourage listeners to follow Sallie on social media and connect with her if interested in business coaching. Sallie, can you tell us, one, how they can reach out to you, but also two, can you spell out some of your social accounts?
Yeah. So on Instagram, it's at _BRIMM, BRIMM. So reach out to us there. You can always DM us. And then growwiththebrim.com is my website. Lots of freebies, great ways to get started if you're putting your toe in the water of business growth, taking a hobby and wanting to turn it into a real revenue generation business. Then that's there. Additional master classes that are easily accessible on everything from ChatGPT and how to use it to, how to conquer your calendar in a way that makes you, far more productive in a short period of time. So go check that out. Lots of tools and resources. And then obviously TSA is the core thing that I do, and you would get live access to me. And it's for anybody that wants to make more money.
That's right. Well, thank you so much, listeners. Please subscribe to the Dressing Up podcast if you have not already. Follow along on Instagram at Sarah Close Designs. And don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast on your favorite platform. Thank you so much, Sallie, for being here with us today. I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Sarah. It was wonderful to be here. I'm honored.
Thank you. Thank you so much for listening. I hope this episode has allowed you to approach the world with greater confidence in your own personal style. If you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out through email or the inquiry form on the website. I hope you are all ready to go and get dressed up. I look forward to sharing more dressing up tips with you in future episodes. Thanks so much.